homemade sourdough bread from freshly ground hard white wheat berries. And it's my first time. And I'm going to take you down the road with me. I have been gone a little while, and I kind of burn a little bit on my air frying and pressure cooking videos. I mean, I still do it all the time, but kind of burn on the videos. And I got into grinding my own wheat berries. And I've been doing it for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I'm brand new at it. But I mean, I have made some of the best breads that my family loves. That's Ezekiel bread that I ground in this Vitamix with a dry grain container. And there is my starter. And honestly, I've watched a lot of videos and nobody is doing it quite like I'm going to. But I'm going to take you with me, and you can see, if nothing else, fast forward to the end and see just how this turns out, because I've kind of got a new technique. And if you notice, I'm going to bring air frying back because this Ninja, the Speedi, has a proofing setting, and so does a couple of other types. And we're going to use it, but we're going to grind these wheat berries in here and add that sourdough starter and see what I can do on my first attempt. Let's do it. Let me say, I have worked with this starter for 2 weeks, and there's where I started, and there's where it always ends up, about this level, which is maybe 1.5. I just can't do any better than that, but it doesn't matter. I want to see what my sourdough bread is going to turn out like, and maybe you have the same issue. There's roughly 906 grams of hard white wheat that I'm about to grind up. It's been in the freezer for a little while, by the way. I freeze my grain. I got that idea from that lady, Rose Red Homestead. Somebody else told her, but anyhow. There's 20 grams of salt. I'm going to put 150 grams of this starter into 720 grams of water, and I'm going to mix all that at one time in that bowl right there, and then we're going to mix it up a couple of times and maybe let it sit out at room temp. 71 degrees is what I got marked. And then it's going in the refrigerator till tomorrow, and we're going to see what happens. And hey, if I have to throw it away, I have to throw it away. But I want to see what sourdough's about. I want to see what all the talk is. That's about a minute. I'm not wrong, 45 seconds. But you can see, if you can hear me, it's almost turning into a powder, and you don't hear the clicking of those seeds hitting the blade. And that's what I listen for. And then I raise it, and it gets even noisier. And I let it do that until I see what I'm satisfied with being a powder. And then I take it all the way to 10, but I'm not even going to go there with you. Okay, there is my 900 grams of flour. And you can see about how fine it is. I mean, I don't know if it's white lily, but it's there. And okay, so there is my, it's 731 grams of water. And I'm about to put 150 grams of starter, a sourdough starter on top of that. So, okay, there is what my mix looks like. That, to me, that seems logical. I don't see anybody do that, but to me, all the yeast and all that stuff that's alive in there is dispersed. And I'm going to wait and add that salt afterwards. But what I'm going to do right now, and I've got whatever it was, 100 and something degree flour and this 71 degree water. So I should end up with some, I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. All I want to do is for this yeast to get in here and start happening and well, make dough. And that's pretty much all there really is to it. And there's really not a need to say a lot more. I'm going to keep you hanging just a minute while I mix this up. So you can see about what I end up with right here. And I'm going to mix this up a little bit. Then I'm going to add that salt to keep me because I'm going to do it all at one time. I'm not going to do a bunch of steps. I'll never do all of that. I just know I won't. I mean, maybe I'll get into it that far one day and do all that stuff, but that's not my intent right now. I'm just trying to make sourdough bread. And I know I love sourdough bread, and I think my family will too. And there's what it looks like right there. There's my dough right now. That's how it looks after I've put my 720 of water on my 900 grains of flour. But you also got to think I put 150 grams of starter, which was a a 1-to-1, I guess you'd say. I think they call it something different, 100%, but it has flour and it has water in it also. There goes my, I forget what it was, 20 grams of salt. So we'll mix that in there real good. And I'm going to put my lid on this bowl, wherever it is, and we're going to let it hang out a little while, and then it's going in the refrigerator. All right, it is the next day. This has stayed in the refrigerator for probably 15 hours or better, because I had things to do this morning, and I did. And again, because I'm going to make this as simple as possible. Instead of making right now I don't want to make a big deal out of making sourdough bread. I just want to make some sourdough bread. And you can see it has grown considerably. But we're going to let it sit out and come to room temperature. Watch me now. Here we go. Let's see what it is right now. It is 41 degrees, 40, 39, 38. So I'm going to let it sit out for a few hours and kind of get relaxed a little bit. And I don't know how long, maybe 4. I don't know. I'm going to watch it. And then we're going to do some proofing, because I kind of found my pan, as I said in the video earlier, and it fits in here. So I'm going to use the Speedi, at least on one loaf. Okay, we are at exactly 5 hours. So let's see what the temp is. I'll show it to you right quick. It doesn't seem to have risen much more, but we're going to proof it, and it will. So, or I hope it will. And we'll see in a minute. This is a test. This is like a test recipe that I do all the time, and this may go in the garbage. I hope not. I doubt it'll go in the garbage. I'm going to eat it somehow. 65 degrees. We're taking this out, and I'm going to cut off enough to at least get this one pan going, then we're going to put the lid back on there and see how this does for a little while. So I say I'm going to take it out. I'm assuming it's going to come out without any problems, and it did. And you can see I'm going to do some of the stretch and folds, and it has a really good aroma. I mean, I can smell it. I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm going to do a couple of them whether you're supposed to or not. Now this is where, if you had a Bannington basket, I believe this is when you would put it in there. I'm not going to do a lot of this. This is a sandwich bread I'm making with a pan. So this might not be, what it is my first sourdough loaf ever. So I'm going to guess at about half of that for this. That might be a little much, so I can add easier than I can take away. So I'm going to cut it right here. And then we're going to put it in, and if I need to, I'll do something different. And that might be a little less than I need. In fact, I think that's obvious. So I'm going to put a little bit more before I even go any further. And I'm just going to make that come together and see what it looks like, kind of rolled up in a loaf-like form that this pan is, because I want it to be about halfway full, roughly, and even all the way across. And this is probably not the way you should do it. And as again, I'd love for you to comment. And if you see something, if somebody's watching this that knows what they're doing, help me. Do whatever you want to do. Tell me whatever, light me up, hurt my feelings. Tell me whatever I'm doing wrong, because again, I'm not going to go into professional sourdough baking like a lot of people do. Or not yet, I may, but right now I'm just trying to make sourdough loaf bread. That still looks a little light to me, so I'm going to put that right there, and we're going to call that it. So I'm just going to, they say not to get too rough with it I think at this point. So I'm just going to kind of roll it up. I might do a few stretches and a stretch and fold, and they do a lot of tucking and stuff. And a lot of people put flour on the board, but if I don't need it, I just haven't been doing that. So I'm not. All right, so this is a Ninja pan, and I did lightly grease it. Actually, I use lard. Now, you could use whatever you want. But I'm going to put this in and just see how it looks once I get it pressed around in here like I'd like it. And I might still be a little bit light, but we're going to go with it because I have no idea, even what temps I'm going with on here yet, and I don't have any idea how that fan is going to act on it. Now I don't want it to, you know, just waste the dough. You know, I want to make sure that I'm doing something that that'll be okay. You know, that'll be edible in at some fashion. And that is pretty close to half. And like I said, I wouldn't mind if it comes out like loaf bread does, you know, but I'm really low in that, so it may not. But this is not a professional baker. This is jelly and some dough. You might can see. Let me get it where I can see what you can see. And that's about, I don't know, we're a little bit more than a third, about a third maybe, close to a half. I'm going to proof it at 90. Now I have a cup of water in there, and I'm going to, and I debated, in fact, when I cook it, I'm going to put this on it whenever I do the air frying or whatever method I choose. But proofing it, I'm going to leave it just like that. So we're going to hit start. The cup of water will help keep it moist in there, and that's set for 45 minutes. So we'll just see how that looks in a little while. Just let it, see if it starts rising, because I've never done dough in the refrigerator, or yeast, or any doughs, but in a refrigerator that's, I guess. All right, I'm going to kind of intervene here, because I'll show you, there's not a lot happening here. It is warming up, and it may have started to rise a little bit, but it's been 40 minutes at 90. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my temp to 100. I'm going to put the time back to 45, and we're going to look at it again after another, say, 40 minutes. Now, I put this out here to keep me from forgetting to tell you. I think I already have, but there's a cup of water in the bottom of that during this proofing. And then this right here, this is the lady that kind of got me started. I just want to throw it in there right quick because I owe a lot to her. She, Sue Becker, I watch her videos, and she has a store in Woodstock with about an hour and a half from my house. There's where to go to learn how to do a lot of things. She is very good at this. I love everything she does. Another 40 minutes, and we're going to look at that again. Be back. Okay, it has been almost, 42 and a half minutes. That's how long it has been since we put this in. And I just peeked. It's just not, you know, doing what I've been seeing happen with my regular room temperature dough. So, you know, I do like the fact that you can raise this, say, even 5 degrees at a time, but the fact that I'm going to do it at 10 degrees at a time. But let's just see where we're at. And the dough is 84 degrees. And I mean, I'm starting with that a lot of times. So I do like to see that rise. Now, that may be wrong, but I like to see it, the yeast to start working. And that may be something I shouldn't do. But what we're going to do, I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to raise this to 105, because that's the maximum. I'm going to take it back to 45. Make sure we're on 105. As high as we can go, 105 for another 45 minutes, to see if we start getting some lift. But again, either way, that is a good option to be able to adjust it, because my oven, as far as I know, you can't adjust it. It is what it is. And my oven is where I'm fixing to go with this one. And even though, you know, I don't have a lot of things to do or nothing, but this is getting lengthy. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in one of my pans, what's left here. And I'm going to move it to that probably 120 degree. I had it heated all along, so the proofer, and I'm thinking it's around, last time I looked, it was at 120. But I'll show you all that in a minute. And then all I'm going to do is, well, you know what? I have to I probably don't have to, but I'm going to put some lard in there, and then I'm going to put that in there, but I'll bring you back when I get some of that done. Okay, so my oven has settled out a little bit. My proofing oven, which I'm using is this. It has a proof setting right there, and it says proof right there. And it has made it to 108, although I saw it at 120, but after probably 2 hours it's been on. we're doing 107, 108. And again, if you can see right there is what we got. And hopefully that's going to rise to at least a 1/4 inch from the top. But again, this dough is cold. And that may be why, because that has kind of fell down. I'm going to try and make it lay near the deck that the bread is on. That's a temp I do have to figure out, but I'll do that. But anyhow, we're in there right now, 9:47 or so. In about 30 minutes, we'll look at it again. And by the way, I have set it to 30 minutes, but I moved the temp on the oven to 400. That's what I'm going to go with. And hopefully after these 30 minutes, that's when we're going to cook it either way. But hopefully will have risen a little bit, but we'll see. And just to get everything in sync, we're going to move this to 30 minutes. Oops. And it'll be pretty much in sync with the oven because both of these are going in 30 minutes at 400 degrees. And I'm gonna do baked roast on the Ninja, and we'll just move to the upper oven in the wall oven. Another 30 minutes has passed. Let's just see what we have. And by the way, we'll look here, 102. And I've been watching these rows, and in the last 30 minutes, it hasn't done, I don't know if you can see that, but I've been watching these rows, and in the last 30 minutes, it pretty much hasn't done anything. So I'm not sure what's fixing to happen, but as long as I can eat it, you know, I'm good with that. So I'm going to clear that timer. We're going to go in there and move the one in the Ninja to cooking it also. So hang on. Okay, same thing here. I'm going to take this out, and well, if it's risen any, honestly, I can't tell it. So this may be wasted time, but no, it's not wasted time. I'm learning. Now I'm going to cover that because of the fan. I don't want the fan to dry it out. I may take that off at some point. Now, if you do put aluminum foil over yours, you want to make sure you want to make sure it's attached so it doesn't get into your fan or whatever. You don't want it anywhere other than on that pan. I'm going to go ahead and turn it all the way off. I'm going to turn it back on, and I considered to steam and bake, but I'm just not going to go through that right now. I mean, maybe, and I'm anxious to try it with some of the ones I've been having so much good success out of, which was the, two, but mainly that Ezekiel bread. So we're at 390 on air fry. I'm going to take that to 400. I just am. It's set for 19 minutes. I'm going to take it to 45. You know, I don't know what we'll need, so I just don't want it cutting off. And it may need more than that, but we're going to let it run at 45 minutes at 400 degrees. So, see you on a little bit. Okay, I just wanted you to see it at the 30-minute mark, and I've even got a new light that might show it a little bit better. Let me see what you can see. And you know, it didn't come out of the top of the pan and hang over, but there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, really, I am pleased because it was I was very concerned with it to begin with. So anyhow, we got one here and one in the Ninja, and the house smells like fresh baked bread. You just can't imagine. Okay, so I moved the camera back in here because I wanted to take a look at this without a cover on it, and I haven't done that yet. Well, there you go. It doesn't look bad. In fact, it looks really well. Let me see where my thermometer is, which is probably in the other room, so bear with me. let's see what that temp is right now. I didn't want to wait any longer. I didn't want to close all these lids. We're 198 at the bottom, and I'm good with that, but I did see 170 something, 185. We're going to let it go just a few more minutes with that, without a cover on it, without the aluminum foil, and I better get busy because now I want to go check the other one to make sure it's not that close too. Okay, I got my glove on right quick, and let's see what we got on the temp here. It looks good, and it's got a good crust. It's still a little low in the middle, but my experience has been it does not take long for it to recover 10 degrees or so. So we'll give it a few more minutes and go check on the other one, most likely. Okay, I can't stand it any longer. That's been about 2 more minutes, and I don't even know where to stab that at, but right there. And we are good. I'm calling that one done, and that's 190. It'll make it. I feel positive it'll make it. I might lay this back on it for a second, but it looks good too. In fact, let's look at it if I can with one hand, because I didn't put a glove but on one hand. It looks good, and well, here's something I did forget. That right there, I was going to score it, and I did forget that all this, but so far I'm not complaining. I'm gonna leave that open where it won't start back up. I'm certainly not complaining with how either one of these breads look, but we'll see what they look like when they're dumped out. This was not, or either one of them may not have risen like I liked, but hey, I'll take it. I'll be back. We are coming up on the final 2 minutes of the 45-minute cook. There it is. Let's see what we have, and that's a pretty good crust, and I wish it would quit beeping, but we are where I want to be. 195 or so right there is all I think you need, and bread's done at around 200, 210 or so. So I'm gonna take this in there beside the other one, and we're gonna look at them both here shortly. Okay, there they are. Obviously, the oven is on the left and the Ninja is on the right, and you can look at those. The Ninja is a little, didn't rise as much. I don't know if that had to do with a lot of things, but I have a lot of notes taken, and I learned a lot. And I think taking it out of the refrigerator way earlier than I did. I mean, a day or 12 hours or better, So we're going to dump them out, if they will. And there goes that one. There goes a Ninja. And I'll turn it back over. And we're going to dump this one out. I probably should have put both gloves on, but I did not. And there comes the oven. And I'll go ahead and flip that over. Well, first of all, the Ninja pan is smaller, no doubt. But that really doesn't explain the difference in size and the... make sure you can see it good. It doesn't explain a lot of things, but it explains a little bit. But the taste is what's going to mean a lot. And next time I will know to remove my, if I'm going to do it overnight with the dough, to take it out way earlier than I did. I may do it totally different next time, but I am so happy that I didn't have to completely throw all of this away, or not throw it away, but it was never been, I wasn't expecting this good of a turnout. That's the truth. And that one is definitely excellent. This one, I think if I had let the dough get and the yeast and all a little more time to rise and get to room temp, and even a little above room temp, which is what I've been doing with these. And I'll say this, here's something, I'll say this right quick. I saw this on a guy's video. It might have been Grant Bakes or something, I don't remember. But somebody suggested this, and it's a very good idea on these type breads. Don't cut off the end, like you normally do. Don't cut this end off. Cut it in the middle, and then seal them back together, and that way they don't dry out as fast. Now, I did add one thing to it. I stack them vertically instead of, I kind of stack it vertically instead of horizontally, because every time I do it horizontally, it would pop open like that. So I don't know why I'm going to that, because it's sitting here. That is Ezekiel. My family has loved it. We're about to find out about the sourdough, but I'm not cutting that till tomorrow. I'm just not. Either one of them. So hopefully tomorrow we will see that these are excellent, with excellent flavor and sourdough. So I'll try and think of anything else I need to say, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay, so again, here they are, but I'm about to bag them up. They've been out 45 minutes or an hour, and I'm dying to cut into it, but I'm not going to. I want them both to be completely cooled, so they retain whatever moisture they say. That's why they say don't cut into them. So I'm going to put them both in a plastic bag, and tomorrow I've got guests here, and we're going to eat these and see what they think. So see y'all then. Okay, there it is. It is the next day. I've got a few people here. We just got home from church, and we're fixing to eat, and I'm going to cut this. You can see the moisture on the bag. I waited a couple of hours before I bagged them, but obviously there's the Ninja. Now I do think that low rise is partly my fault, and I will know what to do next time by letting it get a little warmer, because that's plenty of temp to proof. You know, I mean, in fact, you can add water in there and everything, and I think it'll make a really good proofing chamber. So let's just cut the Ninja first, and just right down the middle, and just see what they call the crumb. I call it the middle of the bread, but let's see what it looks like. And by the way, I don't want a hard crust. That's one of the things people shoot for making bread, but I'm right the opposite. I want a soft crust. And that looks not bad. The crumb, they say. You know, you can see it's a little spongy, but it's a little tight. I mean, it's not loaf bread like you get at the store. And we're going to taste it in a minute. We're going to go ahead and cut this one first. And this is the one from the oven. And we'll go right here. And I can tell it's a little tight also, but again, it's homemade bread, you know. There's that side, and there's that side. I think it looks good. I'm going to brighten these lights right quick. I just realized I didn't have that done, so there we go. It looks good. Both of them do. We'll just do a side by side like this. Nothing wrong with either one of those breads the way they look to me. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to do, like I said, the professional stuff. I'm just going to slice off that, and I'm going to slice off this. We'll do the Ninja first, and that's good. Definitely sourdough, and man, that's perfect for me. It just is. The taste of it's excellent. This one, identical flavor. Very, very good sourdough. And for my first time, I'm impressed with this. So anyhow, I'll probably come back and do some more. I'll show you how I do these Ezekiels and stuff. And I'll get a little better at this. And even if I do sourdough again, I know what I got to do different. I think this I can do the same thing I've been doing, because I don't put this in the refrigerator. And I think was my whole problem there. So anyhow, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Y'all come back to see me. Look up grinding your own grains. I think you'll find it's a lot healthier than the other breads. Love y'all. See you. Bye-bye.